Hey Airsofters, my name is Trent. I'm the President Chief Engineer here at Titan, and today is a little bit story time. We don't get the chance very often to talk about our history, where we've come from, how we do business today. Really helps our products, our batteries, be really, really great, and allows us to do things like offer a full 1-year warranty, no questions asked, and build the only battery that has the capacity, the quality, and the performance that you need to become part of your kit. So you're not just throwing batteries away all the time, that this Titan battery can be with you, forever, basically. So with that being said, I just want to talk a bit about our history. Well, Titan was started in 2015. We were building batteries for RC airplanes, multi-rotors, things like that, drones basically. Then we got into building batteries for big commercial companies. And then we started building batteries for a lot of really cool other companies like NASA and things like that. We did a contract for NASA that required a very long, thin battery. And about halfway through this process, we thought, hey, this is like an airsoft battery. It's the same thing. Now, right away, as you probably know, actually lithium-ion is not new to airsoft. It's been around for a long time, for many years before now. But there was a few things that these other lithium-ion batteries didn't do very well. They're usually very big. They had a large diameter, so fitment was a big problem. And also the performance was pretty low. They didn't have a very high amp output. And there's many reasons for this, but we felt like Titan could innovate on those things. I have to do the math in my head here for a second. The end of 2017, I actually took a few prototypes to an airsoft game, and that's what we would call our version 1. If you look at our batteries, actually, it'll always have a version number next to the number. So for example, it'll say 1056 V4 or something like this. At any rate, our version 1, I took it to a game and immediately noticed that airsofters were just tossing their packs around, like throwing in their bag, throwing in their gun, being pretty rough with it. Now remember, I came from a flight world, and when you fly things, everything on a flying device you take very good care of. You're just very soft and gentle with it. Airsofters are not like that at all. Very tough on their products, and so pretty quickly you needed some changes to version 1. So spent a lot of time making them stronger, more resilient. Things won't be torn off as easily, things like that. Okay, so that was version 1. Now version 2 went back to some more airsoft games, and that's where I met a few of the members of our team now. Matt, if you've ever met him, he's awesome. He's our VP of airsoft. I actually met him at a game, and months later he joined Titan. But one of the first things he recognized, that fitment was really important. Now Titan version 2s were thinner than other lithium-ion packs, but it just was not enough. We weren't fitting in a lot of products. And so our version 3 was a dramatic reduction in circumference to our batteries, so they could fit in a lot more applications. Well, time went on, and we started selling more batteries. This goes into about the early of 2017, mid-2017. And pretty soon, we started getting reports back from our customers that their batteries were melting. Or more specifically, that the wiring that would run alongside the battery was getting so hot on some of their bigger, heavier builds that it was melting the heat shrink. Now, this was never a safety thing. You were never gonna burn the battery or anything, but it was melting the heat shrink. Obviously not a good thing. And this really stems from this idea that we kind of assumed that airsoft batteries take a certain amount of power. That assumption was wrong, and this is one of the things why we like to innovate and improve, because we are not always right, and we're happy to learn. At any rate, our version 4, version 5, we actually invited all the airsofters in our whole area, gave them like free coffee, donuts, hot cocoa, all sorts of stuff. I think we even gave out a few free packs too, but basically invited everybody in that whole area to come by and let us test their rifle with some equipment that can measure how much current, how many amps are flowing for their rifle. And based on this, we realized we need to really improve how much current our batteries could do. So version 4, version 5, around that range, we like doubled, tripled how much current these batteries could do. And then we kept getting more melted packs, although they weren't nearly as many, but then we got kind of frustrated that this was continuing to happen. So we went to this game in Texas and brought some very advanced testing equipment that could measure thousands of times a second how much current was flowing. And at this time we had hundreds of rifles we could test. As many of you know, there's actually 2 phases to an airsoft rifle discharge. There's this really high amp inrush current for the motor to get started, and then it kind of goes down to like this steady kind of state. And that's what we had measured before. So this is like, it could be like 20, 30 amps or something, whereas like a big inrush can be 90 to 130 amps or even higher. And so our batteries were not ready for this big inrush. And so our version 5 came to really support that. At this time, versions 1 through 5, they were essentially all made in China at this point. Now, our Chinese partners were really good. They made really good products. And by the way, this is probably at the end of about mid-2019. So this is about a year at this point of doing, versions kind of 3, 4, and 5. It kind of taken about a year to come around. At this point, things got crazy. We decided to make our batteries in the United States. Now we have a separate video talking about why we're made in the US now, but I'll leave that for that video. But for this, we moved all our production to the United States, and that's what version 6 is. Now version 6 is a dramatic improvement on all prior versions for many ways, but most important is it could really carry current and amps now. There were, at this point, basically no rifles that we could find that would take so much current as to damage that battery. This is really exciting stuff. We also made this battery slightly thinner and also moved all of our connectors to the new airsoft T-plug. And a bunch of other improvements. Packaging, some of our labels are improved, some of our certifications are better, IATA and the DOT require, things like this. So a lot of little improvements. And then our version 7. This is something we just came out with in January of 2020. Now our version 7, this is awesome. This is where things got crazy. Version 7, of course, was an upgrade in cell from 2600 to 33,000 milliamps and an improvement in discharge rate on that cell too. So because we're made in the United States, we designed and built the batteries in this room here in Idaho. We sat down and thought, now that we're made in the US, what can we do? And so we explored all these options and we went through, I believe it was around 15 to 20 changes and iterations in a week. We can test and see how they perform, and then we could see where the weakest points were, and then we could innovate on that, and we could do that multiple times a day. So instead of when we were made in Shenzhen, we could only do that a couple times a year. Now we could do it a couple times a day. So we're talking hundreds of times faster we could innovate by doing this. So version 7 is a culmination of all this, and version 7 is a big deal, big improvement. In fact, if you added up all the amp output improvement from version 1 to 6, version 7 is all of those times 2. It's a huge jump up. And in fact, at the end of version 7 testing, we realized that this could actually meet or beat the rate of fire of a LiPo, which is part of our money-back guarantee program, where we will meet or beat the rate of fire of a LiPo, or we'll give you your money back. That's how committed we are to this. So that's our version history. Now, is version 7 the end? No. In fact, as of the filming today, we're already working on version 8, some new ideas there. I will let a future video talk about that, but it's pretty exciting stuff. We're constantly changing. We always joke, version 7 is gonna be the last one, right? But it's definitely not. We're always gonna make our batteries better. Kind of the ethos or the spirit of this is we always make it the absolute best we can, no matter what. It's pretty fun to see it constantly changing here. I know I didn't get into super big details about this because honestly, a lot of the stuff is really proprietary. We don't release all that stuff, but needless to say, it's pretty fun stuff to see all these different materials, all these different specifications going into make the absolute best product. All right, thanks you so much for watching, and thank you for your support for Titan. Man, we love being a part of Airsoft. We're players too, and if you have any questions, comments, make sure to put a comment below. Make sure to watch our other videos in our Titan Academy video series. They talk about all sorts of topics, and I think you'll really enjoy them. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.